I wanted to talk to you about the overflowing world of podcasts. Is there just too many? Have we gone too far as a society?
No, man, I don't think we have enough podcasts at this point. I feel like there's so many greater podcasts. Like that day I was in the train, I just heard these two uncles talking about how they hate their sons. And I was like, why isn't this available on Spotify? Like, why do I have to be here in this rush to hear this?
So while most of us are thinking, are we real or are we content? You are looking at real life and thinking this should be content.
Why not, dude? Why not? The idea of a podcast is that it's so low effort with such great gains. But it's still very nuanced. Like if you manage to get it right, you get it right. Yeah. Because the effort is I'm talking, but what you're saying, how you're saying, where you're saying, all plays by itself and becomes a great podcast. But you can try to just talk on a mic and maybe it'll happen. Because
it feels like there are so many. Like literally in the last 2 weeks, Khamba announced his podcast with his wife. And I think on the first episode, they're literally joking about how they've started a podcast.
Correct.
Shrija started one with her fiance.
Right.
I think Soha Ali Khan just started one. I'm sure while we're having this conversation, 3 more have just been announced.
Correct.
So what is the appeal for, say, celebrities? Or like why does everyone feel the pressure to have a platform to have a podcast? Is it they're scared of becoming irrelevant?
I don't know why people do it, but I do think that the relevance thing definitely matters because as it is established that, like in Standup, right? Many of my comedian friends also have podcasts and we will probably, we'll spend years perfecting this art that we love so much and we'll travel the world with this show and then we'll be like, got it, perfect. Let's put all my savings into recording this. Okay, then you put it on YouTube and then YouTube is like, hey, cut reels out of this. Okay, cool, I'll cut reels out of this. And then I'll cut a reel. And then once you watch that reel of this highly produced thing, there's just a reel of a guy sitting in his hall and talking about how the new drip Jordans are the best. And he's got like 45 million views. And you're like, what did I do this whole year's worth of work for?
I busted my ass.
Yeah, so it's just, I think it's one of those things where you don't know what works anymore. So people are like, oh, if talking also gets talking gets it, so let's talk, dude.
It's a very male thing, right? Men just love the idea that I just love the idea that there are so many just men talking somewhere, 2 friends thinking, people should record this. More people should get in on this. Talking, this is gold.
Yeah. The idea of like just having a good conversation never ends with like, man, that was a good time. It feels like a missed opportunity always.
Like why did nobody capture that? Your uncles on a train are thinking that same thing. Like why did nobody get that?
Why did nobody get this, dude?
But what do you think the appeal is? Because I find it so interesting that like we have the world at our fingertips, right? Every movie and show ever made ever is right there on your phone. But so many people's go-to lunchtime watch is a podcast. So sometimes it's a celebrity one, sometimes it's so what is it about this format that you think has got so many people excited as an audience?
I don't know, maybe it's just the rawness of it, right? It's just that you're just a guy who came up and said something. And maybe I realized that, Soha Ali Khan is also just a guy who says things. I'm like, damn, dude, I can listen to this. Isn't that what it is?
So then you're saying that at least in that celebrity example, it's seeing a side of them that we've never seen. Is that fair? Like the personality side?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. And there's, I don't know. I think there's like a up and down to it, right? Like I feel like it makes you more relatable. But also if you're Soha Ali Khan, man, I don't want to relate to everybody. Like I want some people to just be celebrities in my head. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want you to have a status that makes me feel like, I yearn for that, I'll not get it, and live my whole life like that. If I just realize that, she's just a guy like me, then who do I look up to? You know what I'm saying?
This is the social media thing they say for actors and stars, right? If you're too overexposed, people care about you less. So I guess it's the same sort of
model. But also care about you more, right? Like it works for some people too. It does work to make you likable. I don't know, man.
But you don't think we've gone too far? When there's another announcement, you're not like, okay, not another one.
Yeah, actually just don't listen to it then. It's as simple as that, dude. I feel like I get it, man. I get it. If you're gonna see people just like buy like mansions because they sat two dude bros with a collective IQ of 6 just poke and they have like a fucking like a company that sells drinks everywhere in the world. You're like, okay, dude, I guess I'm putting too much effort and getting nothing out of my life. So this works. I get it. Everyone should try making a podcast. I don't particularly listen to the kind of show that I have made.
That's the headline.
I'm just saying, like, the idea of two or four people does not excite. Sitting together does not excite me.
Two guys with a mic.
Which is why, and honestly, Relationshit is consumed as a podcast by a lot of people. But like, that wasn't my idea. I wanted to make a show. Yeah. But yes, I if it was just four people sitting in a room, I would not want to make it a thing I want to market.
Yeah.
I would want to put like a live audience because those elements make it more fun for me.
Yeah. It seems like in terms of the most popular podcasts in India, they tend to be of one of two categories, right? One is the sort of maybe the celebrity category, the interview stuff, and one is that sort of weird sort of how I made it as a millionaire, that success thing, that sort of hustle world of this is if you listen to this, maybe you can become. So why do you think like those are the categories that people seem to flock to most?
Now everyone's got the same algorithm, right? So now if I drop a did you know in a drinking conversation with the boys, they'd be like, yeah bro, I got that same fucking reel. So you take the extra step to listen to some CEO talking about some did you know from his 20s. So you can be like, did you know in Alaska, guys? And everyone's like, whoa, how do you know that? That's I guess the social currency of trivia.
Yeah.
Is also
because everything we learn nowadays is actually true. Either podcast or reels. It's something somebody heard on a reel.
Yeah, fucking books for losers.
There is some software, is it Google LLM? I can't remember, I read about it.
ChatGPT.
That's
the one for everything.
Of course. No, there's something where Google developed something where if for students to like research something, to read long documents, you put it through software and it spits out a podcast because that's their chosen way of digesting information.
Nice.
This is the end of all things.
Yeah. I guess that's also a great way to do it, right? Like that's also why, I don't know, they say that people don't buy stand-up specials nowadays. Like OTTs don't.
Platforms don't, yeah.
Platforms don't buy specials, right? Actually, they don't say that. They say that to me. But the thing is that I guess.
But they do say that also. It's not just
I guess
unless you're Vedas, you don't get a special.
I guess it's that the idea of two people talking to each other is just so much easier to keep the attention span going, right? Which is why, like, that's why crowdwork bits work. Like, I also put crowdwork bits, but I don't care for them. It just feels like, oh, that was a good moment that happened, and it's not going to happen again. And someone caught it, so might as well put a reel out of it. But it's because it goes from one person to another person to another person, and then it punchline, and then wow, and over. So then my attention span can see it like a tennis match, as opposed to one guy talking for 3 minutes to set up an important, interesting thought. It's not the same amount of attention, retention, and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think in the terms of crowd work, that's what makes Relationshit so different. It's not technically, you could call it a podcast. It's more of a format, if that's a fair way of putting it, but. You know, we watch it and all of us are thinking, I wish I was in that room. It must have been such a blast. Do you remember where the idea came from, and did you ever think it would become this popular?
Oh yeah, I'm glad that you said that, dude, because that's exactly what I wanted to do since the start. I wish I was in that room. That's it. Because like sometimes, this maybe like I started shooting it in 2019. And the idea was just that, like sometimes I'm just comedians are hanging out, dude, and it's just funny. We're just laughing at each other's jokes, and then there's a sort of like one-upping everybody's jokes, not in a competitive way, but in a, oh, this is a great moment, let me tag what he's saying. And we're all just laughing, and it's just a pure good moment. And I was just like, this green room right now is so much more fun. Like when I go on stage, I'll finish what I'm doing so I can come here. Like that's the task for the day now. This is what the show is now. So I was like, if I can put this moment in a bottle, sometimes it just happens that people are talking and having fun, and that's why like even when somebody comes for taping, I tell them this is not a stand-up show. Okay, because I do stand-up shows also, and I don't like people. You want people's attention in a stand-up show because I wrote these jokes and I have this story and I have these observations and I wanted to have a good time. There's a different way to consume that format. Relationship, it's with comics, it's in a comedy club, but say whatever the fuck you want, do whatever the fuck you want, where all of us, everybody who's here is just hanging out. And I want to put that moment in a bottle so that if you watch it, you feel like, man, I wish I was there. That's it.
It's working, but I love that idea of if the green room was a show, if I could watch that live. Then where did the relationship part of it come in? Where did that idea come?
Okay, so we can talk about the news, but also then only for a limited time till we all get arrested. We can talk about all the great gossip we have from working around industries and amongst each other, but also then we'll all end up on Big Boss. I just felt like this is a topic that stays.
Yeah.
You can watch an old episode and it doesn't feel dated. Like if I started in 2019 and you had to watch a news related episode, it would be hilarious but dated. So you wouldn't find it that funny. This just stays. This is a topic that everybody likes gossip, but you can't take people's names because of the nature of responsibility you hold as a public personality. So I was like, okay, let's gossip about people who we don't know.
I love that idea. In 2025, any Indian comics ideas always start from what won't get me killed. Like that's
dude, always. That's not just 2025. It's always like that.
So now when people come up to you, like, or your DMs or whatever, have people just freely tell you, like ask you for advice or tell you random relationship shit? Are you getting it when you don't ask for it? Or people just like...
Yeah, people do that. And I don't complain. It's fine only. Sometimes people send me like really serious stuff. Like very serious stuff. And I just feel like, I don't know, did you watch the last 100 episodes we put? Like, we're not solving any problems, brother.
Also, what if you find it funny? That's just going to backfire.
Yeah, but I think people know what they're doing. They're just having fun. Yeah. That's the thing with comedy, is that you got to make it look like, I just came and said all this.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the fun in it, right? So, talking about how much work goes into comedy makes comedy boring. I don't like these comics who come and they're like, first I put a joke and then I put a word after that. You idiot, you're ruining the magic trick.
Is there a pressure nowadays that it's not enough to just have the craft, to be a comedy nerd? You also have to be an expert on video editing, on YouTube, on algorithm, on Instagram, on cutting things up, on sort of content management in this entire pipeline and all of this stuff, which does algorithm not take away from that?
I mean, dude, that's everywhere, right? Yeah. Like, there are chefs who are not popular enough because they're not posting reels every day.
Yeah.
That's not just stand-up. I'm saying this is in everything.
Yeah.
There are real estate agents. My dad is a real estate agent and my grandfather was, and I was working for my father. And I know some other real estate agents when I was working who are super viral on Instagram now, and I knew them before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you need to be able to make content no matter what you do if you want to get famous. The great thing is, like, if I was doing Relationshit in 2003 and I would have to pitch the idea to MTV, who would tell me, nah. And then I would beg them, and then probably after 3 years they would say okay, and then they would make a shit version of it, and then they would blacklist me for having a bad idea. So the great thing is, I have an idea, I can just make it.
Because you are the platform, you can be your
That's
own.
what I'm saying. Like, how is this a bad thing?
Yeah. What you're saying about the real estate world, I was talking to a friend who teaches at a college, and he was telling me that we're talking about social media, and he said, I feel the pressure to teach my students about podcasting. And I was like, but why? I mean, that's not even the course. And they said that you're preparing them for the world. And he said he knows people who are partners at law firms, and they are contractually obligated to create content. And even like sometimes you will see those random reels of sort of doctors and things, and you're like, it's literally the pressure's very much there for everyone to have a podcast, content, even like fields that you would never imagine.
My dog's vet, I met him the other day. Okay. Akshay Shah, shout out. Greatest vet. I love him. Okay. But because he's so good, he doesn't do podcasts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just think about it for a second. Yeah. The shitty ones have the time to do podcasts. Okay, but they're the ones who are online giving you shit advice about what you should do with your pets. So Dr. Akshay tells me that ये लोग मेरे को podcast पे बुला रहे करूँ क्या? And I was like, yes, definitely, because we need actual people who are good at what they do to talk. And this is always the problem, right? The problem is always the person who talks is perceived as the one who knows. So that's where we live right now.
I love that idea that like the best heart surgeons are operating on hearts. They're not on podcast talking about it.
That's true.
I was speaking to Anirban recently on a podcast, and he said that he has no problem with podcasts. He said, but you have to have another skill. People who just do podcasts. He said, like, if you're a comedian, I get it. If you're a journalist, but like he said, people who just podcast as the whole personality, that's the problem.
I feel like, as we spoke right now, there's the show, like, as I said, Relationship is not a podcast, but consumed as a podcast. So let's, for the sake of this conversation, say that is my podcast. Okay. Relationship does keep me known as a guy who's the host of this podcast, who also does stand-up. But because of that, now I have 2 jobs. And I started this job to promote tickets for this guy, but now I don't even have time for this guy to go on tour, right? Which makes sense, right? So that is definitely going to be a thing where your podcast should lead to a gig. But maybe if the podcast is your gig, then it's got to be something that is just unique. You know what I'm saying?
And also yours, again, because it's the format it is, if there is still a lot of craft involved, there's still a lot of funny involved in that. It's not just you sitting in a room with another person, there is an audience, you're playing off of other comics. So yeah, there is still...
I did do a plain podcast also. Raunaq had come to India.
Yeah, I saw that,
So I did a sit-down chat with her. Which I want to say on camera. What happened was that Zarna's team wanted to do Relationship. Okay, but this is frustrating but also funny.
She'd be great on it.
It's frustrating but funny. Some guy, I don't know who, picked up her team's phone and said, yeah, I'm Raunaq's manager. Raunaq is not interested in working with you.
Picked up your phone?
Picked up the call from her team.
Okay.
Her team, I don't know who this guy is. This guy just said, yeah, I'm Raunaq's manager, I don't want to do this.
A random person had access to your phone?
A random person, no, not an access to my phone.
Okay.
A random person was told, Zarna's team was told that this random person was the POC for Raunaq.
Okay.
And he was just like,
that's the greatest prank ever.
Yeah, it's a very funny prank. You gotta admit, it's funny. But so when she comes out to Bombay, I was just like, hey, I'd love to have you on. We follow each other. I was like, since you're here. And she was like, okay, cool. so her team reaches out and we try to do a show at night, not happening. I'm only free in the day. Habitat's not free in the day. None of my other friends are free. I said, fuck it, we'll just do a podcast. I just want to do this, sit down with her. Which I ended up having fun doing. But when I met her, I found out that some guy pretended to be my team. So my team, thanks for putting the illusion that I have a team.
That's how you know you've arrived. You have beef, you have haters. Like,
is this a hater or just a genius?
And someone who's created beef between you and a random famous person.
Amazing.
Do
you know that there was a guy in 2011, 2012 who bought the domain name russellpeters.com, but it was Russell with one L and not 2 L's.
Okay.
And he was a comic. So every inquiry that came for Russell Peters, he would say, yeah, Russell's manager here. He's not available, but I can tell you this other guy for 1/4 the cost.
That's genius.
Okay, and for like 3 or 4 years, he made bank.
That's genius.
Okay, he made bank. But the thing is, when you pull off such a great con, you want to tell someone, right? And this ass went and said it on a podcast. And obviously,
men.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, bhai, main itna chhawa hu, and he went and said it. And Russell Peters' team got the whole operation shut down for obvious reasons.
An idiot, but a very smart idiot.
Yeah.
Speaking of podcasts, I did want to ask you, with the whole comedian thing, I don't know the right way of phrasing this, because everyone has a podcast and the same 15 people, many of which I love, great podcasts, great formats, because everyone's just jumping on each other's. Doesn't it become a little bit of a circle jerk after a podcast?
It does.
Okay, cool. Just checking on the same page. Okay.
But that's the thing, right? Like, you got to be able to make sure that I'm getting something new out of. Like, if people are coming on my show, I know that I'm talking about relationships or whatever. My questions, the conversation points are more in the genre of this. Whereas, if you would come on, let's say if you would come on Latent, you would not talk about today I broke up, today I this thing. So then everybody has to make sure that, okay, same guest on my show, why is he different?
Yeah. But those happen to be two of the most distinctive formats. But I get, if somebody else had a more generic format that's not
the thing. So then you have to make a distinctive format. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
What's one thing you would change about this podcast space? It could be in the comedian space, it could be just podcasting in general. What's one thing that irritates you as a viewer?
It's one of those things where podcasting takes money and time, and then you'll take the money and the time to do it. So while you are not taking off as a podcast, you can't just say, I'm a podcaster. Yeah. So you need to have a job. Yeah. But then that job is no longer relevant once the podcast takes off. So you're not promoting anything. So it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. As a comic, I just know that a podcast, here's how a podcast helps a comic, I feel. And I don't have a podcast. I have a show that's consumed as a podcast. Yeah. But the only reason I would do a podcast is like how Bill Burr does it, how Whitney's podcast is, which is just to talk and work out thoughts that I would probably take on stage. So maybe a percentage of people who maybe I have some fans in Kansas, okay, but I'm not going to Kansas right now. I'm going to Delhi, Bangalore, I'm going to Hyderabad. So maybe that Kansas person can listen to my bit, and for the sake of that person, I'm working out a thought. And because I worked out a thought, I'm more articulate on stage. Interesting. Like, for example, Relationshit has, as a matter of fact, made my on-stage spontaneity skills sharpened over the years of me doing it.
Because you're reacting so much more on that?
Yeah, because plain stand-up is whatever is, I do my jokes, and then we deal with whatever is out of syllabus for those jokes in that night. Yeah. Whereas here's a whole hour of shit that's out of syllabus. Anything can happen now. Yeah. So when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. But now this is, I can understand a science and a craft too. Okay, this might happen or that might happen. Every time I say something, I realize that in my head, I automatically know that me saying this it's probably too contrarian, which means that they might say this and they might say this. So how do I make it funny, yet light, and still keep my contrarian POV? And
have fun.
Yeah.
I love how they inform each other, the two. But no, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the joy, because it really has brought so many of us so much joy. And it really is one of those things where you very much just want to be in the room and you're just having fun. So thank you.
Yeah, you should come sometime, man.
In the audience very much so, yeah.
Yeah, wherever, dude. You can, I've told people you can walk on stage also. There are no rules.
Some rules are not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's okay. There's no rules. But that's what makes it just whatever, right?
Yeah, it's just people having fun.
Yeah, and sometimes it could go down south. And it's happened, I'd say, way lesser times than you'd think.
But down south is what? Somebody being unruly in the audience? Like, what are they doing?
I mean, I sit on my own edits. I edit out all the problematic shit. So I don't bring out shit that I edited. I've wasted hours on editing them. I'm not going to bring them up here. But yeah, it's fine. The show is the show.
But it is such a fun show. And I love, like, as you said, you're not trying to reverse engineer something. It's something that brings you joy, something that sort of feeds your craft in an interesting way. And that's why you do it. So it shows. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Raunaq. You can watch me on The Hot Take only on Hook.